Hello and welcome to the second English for SPM online class. Today, we will be discussing Section B of an SPM trial examination from Perak. I will also talk about the technique to answer Section B of Paper 2, Information Transfer. As usual, I will go through each question and discuss the meanings of the words or phrases. Then, I will give you some time to answer the questions before I discuss the answers. At the end of the lesson, you are required to complete a short vocabulary quiz in Quizlet. Please check the description box for the link to the quiz. You will also find links to download this trial exam, the vocabulary list in Word format, and the PowerPoint presentation file on the answering technique for information transfer. And with that, let's get started. Welcome to the discussion on Section B of your English SPM examination, Paper 2. And this section is also known as the Information Transfer section. It is one of the sections that is the easiest to get marks. So if you are not confident in other parts of the examination, I highly suggest that you pay attention to the answering technique for this section. So before I actually go into the question, I would like to take some time to discuss how you can answer the questions in this section. So let's start. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to answer Section B well, there are 4 very simple steps that you need to remember, and they're very easy to follow, but there are some details that you will need to remember. So let's start with the first step. Let's jump straight into step number 1. So step number 1, you need to read the topic of the text. Okay, so the topic is usually the one that is on top of the text and it's in the biggest font. So you only read the topic to get a general idea of what you are going to read. Do not read the details in the text yet. And step number 2, you read the questions. Okay, so you read and analyze the keywords in each question. While you are reading, make sure you circle, underline, or highlight the keywords. So when you are going to continue with step 3, these keywords that you have highlighted are going to help you to find the answers. And going on to step 3, this is where you read the text. After you have read the text carefully, you will also need to circle, underline, or highlight the same keywords that you have found in step 2. Now, some words may not be exactly the same, but they are synonyms, so highlight them as well. And lastly, for step 4, you write down your answers. But when you are writing your answers, this is where a lot of you make spelling and punctuation mistakes. So make sure you check your spelling and your punctuation. So what is punctuation? Punctuation involves capital letters or small letters, okay? So you just follow the exact punctuation that you see in the text. One more thing you need to remember when you are writing your answers is that some questions might require you to change the pronouns. So for example, in the text, they will use first-person pronouns like I or me or mine. So you need to look at the questions carefully and find hints. So if they need you to change the first person pronoun to third person pronouns, for example, he or she or it or they, so you will need to change them according to the requirements of your question. So that is where step 2 and step 3 are very, very important. Alright, you need to circle, underline, or highlight the keywords there so you can find hints on whether or not you need to make changes to the grammar of your answer. One last thing that you need to remember is do not do overlifting. Now, what is overlifting? Overlifting is where you do not identify the keywords in the text correctly, and then you copy too many words that are unnecessary. Okay, they are not needed for your answer. So when you do overlifting, usually it will result in grammatical errors. So please make sure you identify only the keywords that you need for your answer. Now that you know the 4 steps to answering section B, information transfer, let's try and answer the Perak trial examination using the 4 steps that I mentioned just now. So step number 1 was you need to read the topic of the text. So as you can see here in this question, the topic of the text is cigarette smoking. So now we move on to step number 2, which is you need to read the questions. Alright, so now I have scrolled down to the questions, and this is the part of the exam where you will need to take out your ruler and you will use a pen or maybe a highlighter to find all the keywords in the questions. So let's start with the table here. Okay, so they've given you a table and you need to fill in the blanks for questions 16 to 20. So by referring to the information given, complete the graphic organizer below. The first one they have written here is you need to find the effects of tobacco smoke on children. So the keywords in this would be effects and then on children. So what are the effects of tobacco smoke, also known as cigarette smoke, on children? So there are 2 effects that you will need to write down. For the next part, they have written down the reasons for smoking. So the keyword here would be reasons. Okay, so why do people smoke? They have already given the 4 reasons here. So the first one, smoking parents, there are 40 respondents. Okay, 40 respondents. The next reason is peer influence. What is the meaning of peer? Peer means friends of the same age group. So they want you to fill in the blank here with how many respondents there are, meaning how many people gave this answer for their reason for smoking. And then the next one is advertisements. There are 30 respondents. And the last one is coping with stress. So they handle stress by smoking. 40 respondents. So this one, number 18, they need you to fill in the blank with how many people responded with this reason, which is peer influence. Alright, so the next one would be ways to discourage smoking by government. So ways is one of the keywords here. It means a method. Okay, how does the government discourage smoking? What is the meaning of discourage? Discourage meaning you do not encourage something. In Malay, it's something like tidak menggalakkan. So ways to discourage smoking by the government. So there are 2 of them as well. Moving on to question 21 to 25. By referring to the report, complete the sentences below. So now you are going to fill in the blanks with information taken from the text. So we are going to read through each question and find all the keywords in here as well. As you can see here, I have already highlighted all the keywords in order to save time, but we're going to read through them and I'll discuss some of the vocabulary in here. So question 21, 2 serious illnesses caused by smoking are, so they want you to fill in the blanks with 2 serious illnesses. Illnesses are also known as sickness, disease, okay? In Malay, you would call this penyakit. So 2 serious illnesses, you need to write them in the blank here. Next one, question 22. Passive smokers face, right, more risk of diseases caused by smokers. So passive smokers are also known as second-hand smokers. Okay, these are people who do not smoke, but they breathe in the smoke from other smokers. So they face, okay, what do they face? What is the effect on these people? Okay, and how much of this risk are there for these people? Alright, so question 22, you need to fill in the blank here with something that the passive smokers are facing. Next one for question 23, okay, there is something that you need to fill in here, and the keyword here is a chemical substance. Bahan kimia. So it's a chemical substance found in cigarette, is also used to keep dead bodies in good condition. So if you don't know what you mean by good condition, it means that the dead body doesn't rot. Okay? Dead bodies, if you leave them in normal condition, they would rot, right? But there is a chemical substance that is also found in a cigarette that is also used to keep dead bodies in good condition. So what chemical substance is this? Alright, next one, question 24. Cigarettes are harmful because they contain 13 types of chemicals. So there is something here that you need to fill in. The keyword in this question is harmful. Okay, harmful meaning it's not good for your body. It will cause a negative effect to you. So there's something here that you need to fill in, and there are 13 types of it. Okay, there are 13 types of chemicals. And for question 25, a total of, alright, so you need to fill in the blank here, a total of something. Okay, how many respondents? How many respondents quote that smoking parents and coping with stress lead to their habit of smoking? So the keyword here is total. Okay, you will need to do some addition in total to get the answer here. So in total, how many respondents or how many people said that smoking parents and coping with stress lead to their habit of smoking? We are done with step 2, in which we read the questions and we highlighted all the keywords. So now, this time, we are going to read through the text and we are going to highlight the same keywords that we found in the questions in this text. Okay, and as you can see here, I have already highlighted some words in yellow, but these words are the vocabulary that I want to discuss, as you can see here. So while we are highlighting the keywords, which I will do so in light blue, okay, we are going to look at the vocabulary that I have highlighted in yellow as well. Before we move on to step 3, which is you need to highlight all the keywords in the text here on the left, I would like to read through the text first, and we'll discuss the vocabulary that you see here as well. Cigarette smoking. Smoking damages our health and can lead to serious diseases like lung cancer and heart disease. Non-smokers who are passive smokers also have a 25% increased risk of the diseases. Children who are exposed to tobacco smoke at home have increased risk of developing lower respiratory tract infections such as bronchitis and pneumonia. Our government has tried to discourage smoking by putting warning labels on cigarette packets and banning the advertising of tobacco products. Despite this, the number of smokers in Malaysia continues to increase. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, about half of all Malaysian men and about 30% of adolescent Malaysian boys aged 12 to 18 smoke. Before I continue reading the text below, I would like to explain the vocabulary that I've highlighted in this section. So we start with the first word, which is damage. So the meaning of damage is it's harmful or it has a negative effect on something. Okay, it's something that is bad towards your health. It will damage your health. Okay, number 2, passive smokers, like what I mentioned just now. Passive smokers are people who breathe in secondhand smoke. Number 3, expose. Expose is you are unprotected. In Malay, you say something like didedahkan. You are unprotected and there are negative effects on you. So that is the meaning of expose. Next one is respiratory tract. Respiratory tract is the passage formed by the mouth, nose, throat, and lungs through which air passes during breathing. So these are the organs in your body that you use to breathe, and that is what we call the respiratory tract. Next word is infections. Okay, so infection is the presence of a virus. In Malay, you would say this is a jangkitan. Okay, jangkitan. So infection meaning the presence of a virus. The next word is discourage. Discourage, you do not encourage something. Okay, kamu tidak menggalakkan sesuatu. The next one is banning. Banning has the same meaning as melarangkan in Malay. So banning, the synonym is you prohibit or you officially prevent someone from doing something. So when you ban something, it's illegal to do it by law. Alright, so the next word is despite. Despite has the same meaning as although, walaupun. And the last word that is in this section is adolescent. Adolescent meaning a young person or a teenager. It's also known as a person who is developing from a child into an adult. Moving on to the second section of the text, they have given you 2 graphic organizers, and as you can see here, they have given you the graphic organizer in the form of tables. So the first table is talking about poisonous chemical substances in cigarettes and their use. Okay, so how do they use these chemical substances that are also found in cigarettes? Alright, so the first chemical substance is carbon monoxide, and it's also used in car exhaust. Okay, so what is car exhaust? If you look at the list here, car exhaust has the same meaning as car smoke or fumes. Next one is DDT. DDT is found in insecticides. Insecticides, if you see here in the list, they are poison to kill insects. Okay, and the next word is vinyl chloride. Vinyl chloride is also found in plastic. Arsenic is found in rat poison. Methoprene is found in pesticide. And pesticides, there are several types of them. They're usually poison to kill pests, so they can be animals like rats or cockroaches, but if you use the pesticide to kill weeds, okay, weeds in Malay they are called lalang. So if you use them to kill weeds, these are pesticides to kill plants. Okay, and the next chemical is sulfuric acid. It's found in car batteries. Nicotine in bug sprays. Bug sprays are almost the same thing as insecticides, okay? Alright, next chemical, hydrogen cyanide. They're found in gas chamber poison. Formaldehyde, which is found in preserving dead bodies. Okay, so preserving has the same meaning as you keep something in a good condition. Okay, I'm giving you a hint for the question down there. And the next chemical is tar. It's found in road material. Butane, which is in cigarette lighter. Ammonia, which is found in cleaning products. And acetone, which is found in nail polish remover. Moving on to the second graphic organizer. So here in this table right here, they have told you why teenagers smoke. So there are 4 reasons. Smoking parents. So they're 20% of the respondents. Peer influence, 45% of the respondents. Advertisements, 15%. And the last one is coping with stress, 20%. Now keep in mind, this is the percentage. So you will need to see how many respondents there are in total in order to find how many people responded here. Okay, so this one is extremely important. This sentence right here. 200 students of SMK Panglima Awang participated in the survey. So there are 200 students, and you need to convert this percentage based on the total respondents here, which is 200 students. Alright, so before we go on to the questions, let's look at these 2 words right here. So the first one is peer, like what I mentioned just now. Peer meaning friends of the same age group. In Malay, you would call this rakan sebaya. And the last word is coping. So I've written the root verb here, which is cope. So cope has the same meaning as handle. In Malay, it would be menangani. Okay? And now, let's move on to step 3, which is you need to read the text and underline or highlight or circle all the keywords that you see in the text that are the same as the questions. Okay, moving on to step 3. So step 3, we're going to read the text again, and we are going to highlight the same keywords that we found in the question, and we're going to highlight them in the text. So to make things easier, I've already opened another new document right here. So here you can see the text, and here you can see the questions. So now, let's look at the first one that is we highlighted here. Okay, so what are the effects of tobacco smoke on children? So now let's look at the text. If you can see the word tobacco or effects or children, okay, we're gonna highlight them. Alright, so we are back with the timer here, and I have set it to 15 seconds. So within this 15 seconds, I would like you to read the text again and see if you can find the same keywords here, which is effects on children. So let me remind you again, please look at the text and try to find the keywords that are the same as the ones that you found here, which is effects on children. If you need more time, please feel free to go ahead and pause the video. But I will start the timer starting now. Alright, so time's up. I hope you have found the keyword. If not, you can go back and try to find it. But I will tell you where the keyword is. So as you can see here, you can find the word children. Okay, so you already found one keyword that is the same. So the answer is somewhere in this sentence right here. So let's read it again. Children who are exposed to tobacco smoke at home have increased risk. So you see the word risk. Risk has the same meaning as effects. Okay, so there's an increased risk of something. So what is it? Of developing lower respiratory tract infections such as bronchitis and pneumonia. Alright, so as you can see here, you need to write down 2 answers or 2 effects on children. So in this sentence, the answer would be bronchitis and pneumonia. Alright, so I have written down the answer for question 16 and 17, which was bronchitis and pneumonia. And as you can see, I have followed the spelling and also the punctuation exactly. So there is no capital letter for B or P. and I have done the same in my answer right here. Alright, so we are moving on to the next part, which is reasons for smoking. Alright, so reasons for smoking, if you remember correctly, it was somewhere in this table down here. Why teenagers smoke. Alright, so you are going to look for the keyword, okay? You're going to look for how many respondents talked about peer influence as the reason they smoke. Alright, I don't think I'm going to set a timer, but there is something that you will need to calculate. So please look at this table again carefully, and then please try to find out how many respondents answered peer influence as the reason that they smoke. Okay, so we are back with the answer for question 18. As you can see here, I have written the correct answer in blue, which is 90 respondents. And the one that I've written in red here, 45 respondents, is wrong. Now, how did you get the number for 90 respondents? Okay, as you can see here, 45% of respondents said that peer influence was the reason that they smoked. And in total, there are 200 students or 200 respondents in this survey. So what you would need to do is you would need to take 45 per 100% times 200 students. So in total, you would get 90. So the answer would be 90 respondents. The word respondents is also compulsory. So if you do not write the word respondents, you are also wrong. Moving on to question 19 and 20. So the keywords that you highlighted in the questions are ways to discourage smoking by the government. So I'm going to give you another 15 seconds. Please read the text again and try to find the same keywords that you see here, which is ways to discourage smoking by the government. Alright, so 15 seconds starting now. Okay, so time's up. Alright, if you said that the keyword is here, then you are right, because as you can see here, you can find the word government, alright, and you can also see discourage smoking. So the keyword is somewhere here. So the ways to discourage smoking by the government are, okay, so you need to fill in two of them. The first one would be putting warning labels on cigarette packets. So your answer for question 19 would be putting warning labels on cigarette packets. And the next one, and banning the advertising of tobacco products. So this one would be your answer for question 20. In order to save time, I have written the answers for question 19 and 20 here. So I've copied them exactly as how I have seen it in the text. So putting warning labels on cigarette packets. P is in small letter. And the next one would be banning the advertising of tobacco products. B, okay, B is also in small letter. Alright, moving on to question 21 and 22. So I would like you to look for the keywords here that are in the text. And I'm going to give you 15 seconds, but if you need more time, like I mentioned, please go ahead and pause the video. So for question 21, you're going to look for serious illnesses. And for question 22, you're going to look for passive smokers and what do they face. Alright, so question 21 and 22. 15 seconds starting now. Now, let's look at the keywords in the text that are the same as the ones here. So, for question 21, if you found serious illnesses here, then you are correct. So, serious diseases. Like I mentioned earlier, diseases is a synonym for illnesses. So, serious illnesses, what are the two serious illnesses caused by smoking? So, the answer would be here, lung cancer and heart disease. So this one would be your answer for question 21. And next one, question 22, passive smokers. So as you can see here in this sentence, passive smokers, you can find the keyword here. So what do they face? They also have a 25% increased risk of diseases. So as you can see here, there is another keyword, alright, risk of diseases. So the answer is somewhere here in the middle. So passive smokers face, the answer would be 25%, okay, more risk of diseases. So the answer for question 22 would be 25%. I have written the answer for question 21 and 22. So the question 21 is lung cancer and heart disease. And for question 22, if you have written 25% in words, or if you use a symbol, I would accept both answers. And now we'll move on to question 23 and 24. So question 23, you are looking for a chemical substance found in cigarettes which is also used to keep dead bodies in good condition. So in this table here, you can see all the chemical substances. So make sure you look for the chemical substance that helps to keep dead bodies in good condition. Alright, next one. Cigarettes are harmful because they contain 13 types of chemicals. So there's something here that is describing the chemicals. I'll give you 15 seconds, alright? Try to see if you can find the keywords that are the same as the one in the questions here. So 15 seconds starting now. Alright, so let's look at the answer. So what is the chemical substance that is used to keep dead bodies in good condition? If you answered formaldehyde, then you are correct. As you can see here, you can find the keyword preserving dead bodies, okay, which is the same as the keyword that you see here. Dead bodies, and the meaning of preserving is you keep something in good condition. So the answer for this one would be formaldehyde. And please make sure when you write your answer, F must be in capital letter. Alright? Because it's the first word in this sentence. So F, you must write it in capital letter. Okay, moving on to question 24. Cigarettes are harmful because they contain 13 types of chemicals. So if your answer you wrote poisonous, okay, then you are correct. Because as you can see here, there are 13 types of them. So you can't be writing all the names of the 13 types of chemical substances. So the only possible answer would be an adjective. So here you can see the word poisonous, which is an adjective for all of these chemicals here. So the answer for question 24 would be poisonous. Moving on to our last question, question 25. Okay, so question 25, you need to find the total of how many respondents who quote that smoking parents and coping with stress lead to their habit of smoking. So when you see the word total, that means you need to do some calculation and addition. So let's look at this table right here. They tell you that smoking parents, there are 20% of respondents, and coping with stress, there are 20% of respondents as well. So please remember there are 200 students who took this survey, and you will need to calculate based on this percentage here. So I'll give you 15 seconds. Please try and find the answer for question 25, starting now. Okay, I hope you calculated correctly because the answer for question 25 would be 80 respondents. Alright, so if you calculated correctly, 20% of 200 students would be 40 students. And the same for coping with stress, 20%, which is another 40 students. So 40 students plus another 40 would be 80. So the answer for question 25 would be 80 respondents. We have reached the end of our discussion for section B, information transfer. So before I go, let's summarize all the 4 steps that you need to follow in order to help you answer this section. So step number 1, please make sure you read the topic of the text, but do not read the text yet. Step number 2, you read the questions carefully, and then you need to analyze each keyword in the question. So you can circle, underline, or highlight the keywords that you find there. Next, step 3, you need to read the text, and also you need to circle, underline, or highlight the same keywords that you found in step 2. Okay, so in the questions, and also in the text, you need to find the same keywords. So sometimes the keywords may not be the same, but they are synonyms. So highlight them as well. And when you have found the keywords, you will know that your answer is somewhere in the same sentence where you found the keyword. Okay, and lastly, when you write down your answers, please check your spelling and your punctuation, which are your capital letters and your small letters. So follow them exactly unless there are some grammar changes that need to be done. So this is where your analysis of keywords in step 2 and step 3 will be very important. And please make sure you do not overlift. Please copy the necessary keywords only for your answer. We have reached the end of the presentation for information transfer, also known as section B in your paper 2. So now let me show you the Quizlet that I have prepared for this section. So as usual, I will put the link to this quiz in the description box. Please make sure you go and learn all the meanings of the words again under flashcards. And you can also go down here and listen to the pronunciation of the words as well. So let me demonstrate the first one.
Damage. Harms has a negative effect on something.
Okay, and if you use the flashcards, all you need to do is click and the meaning will come out here. So once you're done with learning all the meanings, you can try a test, and you can also play the match game that will test your understanding of all the words. Okay, so we have reached the end of this presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask me in the comments below. Alright, so that's the end. Thank you very much for listening. Bye bye.